Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the event. It's a good day in Bangalore. Hope you're having a great day too. We will be talking about React, which in a way has been revolutionizing the way we build user interfaces, and Next, which in a way has been uh, a good framework, a popular framework for uh, Next, which has been getting and static site generations. And we will also be sharing some interesting concepts, ideas, tools that has been baking, brewing inside the community. Who am I? I am Saurav Ganguly. I work here at GeekyAnts as, just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, so this uh, event is about React and Next. And who am I? I am Saurav Ganguly. I work here at GeekyAnts as a software engineer. And I write on most of the platforms as I, Saurav Ganguly. And on Twitter, I go by I am Saurav Ganguly. So you should be following me there. I'll be sharing more events coming up and also a lot about React and React Native. To talk about the event, we have some of the amazing speakers in the industry with us to share their insights and experiences. Our speakers today, uh, so I will bring them forward. Okay, so our speakers today will be talking about, will be shedding light on what are the latest technologies coming up in the event and latest developments in these technologies, and discuss how they can help us create faster applications, more scalable, more efficient web applications. So we do have an exciting lineup with each with their unique expertise and perspectives. So without further ado, let's get started into the event. But before, if we have not met before, so who are we and why this event? Well, uh, as our site beautifully says, we are a design and development studio, turning ideas into reality. As a business, we work on apps, web applications. We also create great applications, solve problems. To me, we are people who love to learn, discuss great technologies over coffee, and that's where communities come in. We love to share what we learn, so we are active and a huge contributor to to different spaces, right? And there are communities that we have been building over the time. We have a React Native community, we have a Flutter community, we have design community, React community, design systems, and recently we have also come up with a QA testing community, post GRE, and as always, we always love to do research and development. So let's get started with the event. I'll invite on stage our keynote speaker, um, Shreya, who would be talking about React and a lot more exciting stuff, and also introduce us with all the speakers we have, who would be sharing a lot of technologies. Thank you so much. We will be meeting again, Shreya. You can take over.
Sure, Saurabh. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. A very good afternoon. I welcome you all to the React Next 2023 virtual meetup. So, a brief introduction about myself. Um, I am a software engineer working at GeekyAnts, and I would be the keynote speaker, and I would be setting the theme for this meetup. So, let's get started. So, what's new in Next? One second. So, what's new in Next? First of all, let me tell you all about what is Next. Next is an open source web development framework created by Vercel, enabling React based web applications with server side rendering and static site generation capabilities. Cool, isn't it? So, the latest Next.js version is 13.2.0 and it has various new features that is introduced with it. So let's look into it one by one. So the first one is built-in SEO support. Next.js was built from ground up to allow for search engine optimization, providing pre-rendered HTML information enhances not just search engine indexing but also the efficiency of our applications. While Next has long provided simple API for updating metadata in our application, now SEO using App Router is completely revamped. The new metadata API allows us to create metadata with explicit metadata settings in any server component layout. And this API is simple, composable, and designed to be compatible with streaming server rendering. Uh, so we have the our next feature, that is route handlers. API routes usually reside in API directory in pages. It was one of the missing elements from the first beta version of the app router that was introduced. Thus, we now have a new, more modern version of API routers that is thoroughly integrated with the new app routing system. Using web request and response APIs, we may define custom request handlers for specific routes with route handlers. Route handlers in general offer an isomorphic API that allows us to smoothly handle Edge and Next.js, Node.js runtimes, including support for streaming responses. Uh, Route handlers also allow long awaited features like general purpose static rendering, revalidation, and this is only possible because they utilize the same route segment settings as page and layout. Route handlers also have additional server operations which can be utilized in any web APIs that are abstraction based. This enables us with throughout server components and handlers. So the next we have is MDX for server components. So you guys might be wondering what this MDX is, right? So MDX is a markdown superset that allows us to write JSX right into our markdown files. It is an effective method of incorporating dynamic interaction and embedding React components into our content. With the latest 13.2 version, we can now utilize MDX fully with our React server components, which means less client-side JavaScript, quicker page loads, and while preserving React strong templating dynamic UI features. And moreover, we can add this MDX according to our requirements. This is not a compulsion or anything. We can just use it as and when required. So the next we have here, 1 second, right. So the next we have here is our Rust MDX parser. So when the development community came up with React Next 13.2, they also thought about performance enhancement. So they wrote this MDX parser in Rust to increase the speed as a part of allowing MDX for server components. This is a significant improvement over the prior JavaScript based parser, which had noticeable slowdowns when it was dealing with this large number of MDX files. Right, guys? So the next we have improved error overlays. We all know how hard it is to debug those errors, which provide no explanation so forth. So including in the number of modification that has been made with the new next version, there were also modification improvements to improve the overall readability and debuggability of the issues. Next.js and React stack traces were now separated in 13.2, making it easier to pinpoint the exact source of problem. Furthermore, an error overlay now shows the current version of Next.js that will help us to determine whether our version is up to date or not. They have also made many improvements including React hydration failures, error reporting, and making them more readable and debuggable. This is cool, isn't it, guys? Um, okay. So, when we talk about a new feature or new version, we always think about what is the future of this, right? Our next developers also thought about the same. So, they introduce some of the features that are still in the beta and alpha phases. So, should we go and learn about them? Right. So, one of our features that is still in beta phase is the statically typed links. So Next.js can theoretically now statically type links in app directory to avoid typos and other issues when using the next link, which improves type safety while browsing between the pages. What is amazing about it is this function necessitates the use of new app router as well as our old and famous TypeScript. This functionality is presently in beta testing. So the rewrites and redirects aren't currently supported with this version, but in future we may see all of it. So the next feature we have with us is the Turbo Pack improvements. We all know how Turbo Pack came with React 18 and shook the world. So when Turbo Pack was launched in alpha stage alongside Next 13, our Next.js developers thought, why not include it in Next also? So, Turbo Pack is an incremental bundler aimed to speed up both local development and future production builds. As we go near the beta release, the team have been concentrating on supporting current Next.js capabilities in Turbo Pack and increasing the overall stability of our applications, which include various updates like support for Next Dynamic, support for rewrites, redirects, headers, support for 404 errors in pages, support for CSS modules, improved fast refresh reliability and error recovery, improved CSS precedence handling, and improved compile time evaluation. Okay, so the next we have is Next.js cache. So when Next 13.2 introduced the Next.js cache, it was an evolution in the ISR, which is incremental server rendering. So, with the new updates, it unlocks progressive ISR at the component level, faster refreshes without network request, faster redeploys. The code changes to static pages. If we talk about ISR, so ISR functions the same way it does now for completely static pages. What's new with Next.js cache is it provides a more granular, short-lived cache for the sites that have more minute data fetching and blending static and dynamic data. With this feature, we can now encapsulate static and dynamic data alongside the consuming components using the basic React server components and the collated data fetching in Next.js app router. We may now observe the same caching behavior in the Next.js dev as in production when we next start the while developing locally with our app router. So the most amazing thing about this is the cache is controlled by our app, not the third party API. This is distinct from cache control headers in which upstream determines how long the item is cached. So I think we all learned something new and good about this latest update with Next 13.2. So if we go further, I would like to talk about React Wizard. So, React Wizard is a community based out of GeekyAnts where we conduct various tech talks, workshops very frequently. And so, if you guys are interested, please do follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. On the end note, I would also like to congratulate our team here at GeekyAnts on officially becoming partners with Vercel. Uh, I would also like to introduce our amazing speakers today. We have Sadanand Pai from CoinDS DCX who would like to talk about state management using Zustand for React. Our own Darshan Poinkar from GeekyAnts who would enlighten us with the future of layouts. Next, we have Rajat Pratap Singh from Demnish Apparel Private Limited, who would share with us his extensive knowledge of React Fiber. And lastly, we have Shreya Poudyal from Shakha Tech Information System, who would show us how React can be a game changer in today's tech world. And finally, the code of conduct. So don't use any hate speeches and inappropriate comments. Be respectful. This is a space of growth and learning, so please promote that and get to know your fellow mates. Thank you, guys. I would like to get back to our host.
I was on mute. Hi, thank you, Shreya. That was an amazing keynote. And I think without further ado, let's get started with the event. Let's come bring up on stage Sadanand, who will be talking about Zustand and beautiful state management, an easy state management tool, which you should be integrating into your applications. Let's see what Sadanand has to say about it. Sadanand, uh, Sadanand, could you turn on your camera? We could not see you. Or is it just me? Backend team, can you please confirm on this? Okay, okay. So I guess we have some issue from Sadanand's end. But yeah, so I'll take this moment to introduce who he is. Sadanand is a software developer from CoinDCX, and okay, yeah, I think there is some issue from his end. So yeah, Sadanand is a software developer from CoinDCX, senior front-end developer, and he has an experience of about more than 4 years on React and Angular frameworks, and he's also an amazing open source contributor. So respect to that. Um, yeah, he's back. Hi, Sadanand.
Hi, Saurav.
Yeah, yeah. So are you good to go?
Yes,
Excited for the talk?
yes.
Yeah, we should be. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thanks for joining. So the stage is yours. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. First of all, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk on one of the topic with on React, which is Zustand. So today we'll discuss a bit about how what is Zustand and how do we use Zustand in React, and also we'll go through few of the code snippets and why should you be using Zustand for your next project. So let's look into those details. So as already introduced, my name is Sadanand Pai. I'm working as a front-end developer from almost 4 years of experience now. So totally I have around 10 years of experience. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and also follow me on GitHub. So we'll discuss about first what is state management, and then we'll get into the depth of what is Zustand and how can we build some application using Zustand. And also we'll see how easy it is and why is that Zustand is today's topic. So coming to the state management part, guys. So if you know what is state management in React. or in any front-end framework. You require the state to be managed even with the state management library or without it, could be any case, but you would require a state. So what basically state is that the data what you use in the front end, you store it in some place. Earlier application, what used to happen is that you keep all the state in the server, and every time you make a request, a new page is requested and data used to come along with the HTML. But nowadays everything is single page application. You have to maintain, manage, manipulate everything, even including DOM and all the stuffs you do in the front end using JavaScript. Even to manipulate your HTML, CSS, everything, you do it with JavaScript. So let's discuss a few of the popular libraries available out there. And there is nothing like this is the best library for state management which you should be going, or this is not the good one. But there are few popular and good libraries which have got the recognition, and you might be picking those for your project, may be it personal or professional. Hope there is no lag from my side. The clarity is there. Going into the part of the popular libraries, we have Redux, which everybody knows, and then the Redux toolkit, which is kind of a wrapper, we can say, which makes the things easier working with Redux. And then few other popular libraries like MobX, Redux Saga, Rematch, Recoil, and the inbuilt API provided by React, that is React Context. So moving further, so why did we pick Zustand today, or why am I talking about Zustand? So let's get few clarity. So whenever you are building a website or web application which has front end, be it front end heavy or front end light, you may think of going for a state management, or you may not be requiring it. So let's say you are building a simple web application which has a simple page to display a counter application. Let's take that example. Now, in this case, you may not require a state management because it's very simple that you can just handle it with few variables inside the components or inside a single module of the JavaScript. So even in that case, Zustand can be helpful for you. The reason being it is very simple to integrate and easy to get started. It has a very low boilerplate, in the sense in the future slides we will discuss about that, what is the boilerplate to create a simple application. So in that we will see how simple it is to get started with Zustand, and it works well with the functional components. As of now, everybody is going to use functional components, which we are already know, and the class-based components are there in only in the old legacy projects. But it is good to have the knowledge of those. But we generally go for only functional components due to their advantages. And picking the Zustand with functional components, it fits very well. Next point about the Redux like pattern, but simplified. So what it means is that, oh, you learn Redux generally, whichever course you pick or whichever company you go, even for the interviews, you will be asked on Redux, not on Zustand or something else. So in that case also, the pattern or the architecture, the way it uses the store will be same. So the learning curve for the state management using Zustand will be less for you. We'll discuss more on that point as well. And it has good support for middlewares, and also it is compatible with TypeScript. So some issues were there in Zustand, and I guess are there in the corner cases with respect to TypeScript. But it should not be a blocker for you to move with the Zustand for your normal to even the complex projects. So let's see few of the things. And before moving on to the coding part, let's talk a bit about how does it look when we are creating a store in Zustand. So if you see, this is a normal store for a counter application. So let's say I'm building a counter application which obviously require a value. Value is nothing but the count. And then we have few actions which will either increment, decrement. So as we know that we don't directly go and modify the value, even though it is a variable, normal variable, which is a of type number, we don't do that. We always do it with actions. So that is the architecture if you are about. In Redux, we have the action, and then we have the uh, store where the value or the state changes, and this state change immediately will reflect in the components. So that is how it works. And now coming to the same topic, how is it done in Zustand? You have the store, and then these are connected to multiple components, be it one component or hundreds of components. You can connect to as many number of components as possible. And now, whenever the value changes through the actions, that is either you increment or decrement, the value changes, the value will be reflected in all the components. Now, how do you use this value is up to you. So that is how the architecture of Zustand, or in any other state management also, the similar architecture will be there. So the overview looks something similar, but we'll get into depth. What are the differences? And mainly we'll talk about how is it in Zustand. So even though if you are not aware about other libraries, it is fine for you to get started with the Zustand. So let's talk about a simple store setup done in Redux. So this is a Redux, this uses Redux toolkit, which is again a kind of wrapper on the Redux, React Redux, which makes our life easier. Now coming to this part, if you don't understand most of the things, it's fine. But you just have to know we are setting the name for the slice. Slice is nothing but multiple slices can be connected to make one store. If you are finding it difficult, just leave that, but you can focus on the actions and the state. We have the state, which is the value, and we have few reducers which will again decide which action to perform depending on the type and the payload, and the payload will be generally used within that action. So if you see here, we have increment and decrement, and similarly one more action we have increment asynchronous async, and it is written outside, which acts like a thunk. And again, if you are not aware about thunk, it should not be an issue, because we are not going to do this example. We will be making a simple example with Zustand. So if you understand increment async, it will be delayed operation, and again it is dispatching an event to increment the amount by amount, or increment, or it can call any function which is present in the reducer. So this is just an example which we have taken, and we are taking this and then exporting, and can be used in the all the components. And also you have to wrap your whole React component, the root level component, using a wrapper, which helps this state management to work efficiently, or at least to work. So now coming to the Zustand setup. So forget about all the other stuffs which you have seen, because only if you are comparing those things, then only it will help. Otherwise, if you are starting from the scratch, this is how a simple store looks like. So here if you see, we have a store called as use counter store. Why we are using use? Because it is a kind of a hook only at the end, which we are using in the each React component. Now if you are seeing here, we are having a store. We are telling create, which is nothing but the Zustand library function create, and we are setting few things, which is a state. Now if you see here, value is a state which we have created. And to start with, I have taken very simple example where again uh, the structure is same. We have increment, decrement, and increment async. So now whenever something has to be incremented, you call increment and decrement, and similarly increment asynchronous. And if you see, the synchronous and uh, the normal synchronous actions are almost similar, and you don't have to worry too much the way you are doing in any other library. Maybe a few libraries make this simpler like this, but Zustand comes with the complete package for you if you are getting started. So this is one of the example And to get started, I have mentioned this. So now before moving into the features, let's go and see how does it look in the real code. So let me go to the real code. So this is the state which I have created, that is value, and this is TypeScript based. You need not worry about this interface also if you are not aware. Even in JavaScript it will be still more simpler, but I am giving a TypeScript example here. So here if you see, this is the state and these are the actions. I am just defining increment and decrement, two actions. What it does, it sets the value of the state here, which receives state, that is previous state, and we are incrementing it by 1, and when it is decrement we are decrementing it by 1. So it is that simple. And let's see how does it look in the UI. So if you click on increment, it will increment the value of the state present in the store. So nothing but value got now incremented by 1, and when I click on decrement, this action will follow. And how is it used in the components? So let me go to the component. I have created a display component and the controls. Controls are nothing but increment and decrement. So now if you see here, so I have the increment and decrement used in the controls, and then I have the component. On click, I am calling increment, which is received from the use counter state store. And similarly decrement, on click, I am calling decrement. And these are directly taken from our store. It is as simple as that. You call the store and you take the state. State is a variable which completely gives you the state of that store. And in that we need increment and decrement. And I have taken it as an array, and similarly I have destructured it here, and I am using it here. And if you need a value, so for example to display this value, so let me go to the display, and here if you see value is present, which is again taken from state, and I am picking just value. So let's go to the console, and let me run this app again. And here if you see, I'll go to the counters app and click on increment. So you can see display component is rendered. When I click on decrement, again the display component is nothing but this value. It is getting rendered. And you might be wondering what is this shallow. So let me comment this out for you. And if I comment this and then try the same operation, what might be happening is that every time you might be seeing decrement, I click, display component is rendered, and even the controls component is rendered, which is not necessary. But when you add a shallow here, what it means is only the state changes which are decrement and increment. Only if that changes, then only you re-render the state. Otherwise, don't do it. So that is how it works. So let me keep it as it is as a shallow. So now if you see with the shallow, you will not see so many re-renders. So this is an optimization which you should be aware of. So now let's go to the other components and let's see what other benefits or other features present in the Zustand. Now here is the details component. Just the name is details, but what I am doing is I am trying to fetch some details via UPI. So let me enter a number here and I enter 5. You can see some value coming, and this is an asynchronous event. So it's very important for us to see how asynchronous events also work. So let me go to the store of the details, and if you see here, I'm making an asynchronous call. So this is nothing but I'm trying to fetch some value from the JSON placeholder, and if I get the value, I'm just sharing it back. If something goes wrong, I'm setting it null. So this is purely an example, and don't consider that this is the way you should be doing. You can use the way, for example, if you are using Axios or React Query, you can do it in the same way. So now coming to the main part here, that is get details. So here the get details is an asynchronous function. And as you know, it should be pure, and it should not have side effects, and it should immediately return. Those things are there. But here if you see, I am just writing the direct asynchronous action, which is get details, and awaiting for the details to come, and then I'm using it to set the value directly. That is nothing but this details. So now if you see, whenever I am calling the get details, it will get the details and set the value. And here also you can see a set details which is synchronous. It just sets the value. So that simple it is. So I just have extracted out the main core fetch details logic here. That's it. But otherwise, it is directly asynchronous function. So now let's see how is it implemented in our component. Again, it is very simple. What I am doing is I am picking a number and on enter, I am just taking that number and passing it to the get details detail state. That is nothing but the store, and in that state I am getting get details. And if something, if that is not a valid number or something, I am setting it to null. So both synchronous asynchronous events are actions are handled in a super simple way. Let's go to the next example. As you have understood the core logic now, so it won't be difficult for you to understand further. It will be very simple. That if we consider one more state or store which I have created, that is for query parents. So what is happening here, as if you see, it is a complicated state. It's not that complicated, but for example purpose, I have kept it very simple. But still, it is not the direct state. You have an object, and inside the object, you have the key and value pair. So now, if you see, there is a update query param which you are calling. So when you are calling update query param, you are directly modifying the value within the object. It is not that you are spreading that object and then setting the value. So you don't have to worry about that. And this is achieved by immer. It is not the functionality of Zustand. But the main point to see here is that how Zustand supports it in a simple way. This is produce, which is coming from the immer, which makes it completely immutable, and you modify something which is a nested level, that is state.query params. In that you are modifying a key, and now when I click on JavaScript, you can see that key is modified, even though I am not spreading and doing it in that way. So similarly, you can see I am doing the nested level changes in a simple way. So even that can be done in a super simple way. Next example would be a chat application where I'll be showing you how the chat application works with the middlewares. So the main concept here is the about the middlewares. So here if you see, I have dev tools and persist, two middlewares. So this is how you insert the middlewares into your store. So you add dev tools and persist, both are middlewares, one on top of other, to support dev tools and store this value in the local storage or session storage, and in that way you retrieve the value. So let me type something here and hit enter, and let me refresh this page. And if you see here again, this high is persisted. This is happening because of the middleware. And if you see here, all the chat messages are stored in your local storage with the help of the middleware. And you can create your own middlewares, but we are not going into that depth for this discussion. And similarly, it supports the dev tools, which you like most in our Redux, correct? So if you see, if I am doing something, it is connected to that, and you can see all the changes happening through our Redux middleware. So this is just to see how our Zustand is supporting all the different stuff. And the last item which I want to show you is how it works outside the component. In React, sometimes maybe you require to make some calls or some state access outside the component. So even in that case, this is a simple store where I am putting just a value, nothing much is there. So now the point is, how do we access it outside? So when you are accessing it outside, if you see on click of the generate random number, I am making a call which to a function which is outside. And outside the component also you can access it in a simple way. So you can call the store, and then there are two exposed functions names, which are set state and get state. So whenever you want to set the state, automatically you can set the state. And in the similar way, even here I am making the get state call, if you can see here. So again, I am not using the hook way as expected to be used. But why am I using this is to show, but we can go for the normal hook. But even this works outside the component also. And if I click on the generate random number, you can see no update. Let me refresh the component. You can see the random number generated shown. So that is 82. And here also you can see something is getting consoled. Nowhere you can see the console log, but at line number 11, there is a console log. What I'm doing is I'm subscribing to the store. Whenever some value changes in the store, so the value can be subscribed. And there is a middleware also for that to subscribe only the value which you are worried about. So here whole state is subscribed, but you can do it conditionally. So that is the beauty of Zustand. So I just have covered all the different examples, and this is available on my GitHub as well. So let's go to the slides part, as we have covered different stuffs. So these are the features which I have listed and which you might be using most of the times, 80% of the times in your projects and features. So that is one is shallow, which we have already seen. Then the synchronous actions, and we have Redux like reducers and action types, middlewares, the dev tools, and mechanism to subscribe and update the state. So these same examples I have taken and just added it in my slides. And you can read more on their official Zustand docs, and also the Zustand documentation site is present. And if you want to see this repo with the examples, you can go to my repo, and also it is hosted, which is the below link. You can see it live. And again, once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hope you have learned something new. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be here to answer.
Thank you so much, Sadanand. That was good. And you were talking about thank you for giving you the opportunity. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing the knowledge that you have been exploring for so long. And we also did not explore just about what is do stand. We were also exploring about uh, the implementations of Zustand, right? And I think you are a great teacher, Sadanand. Will you agree on that? We were,
Thank you, Saurabh.
yeah, we went from the very basics of how to make a counter app, then we went to how the details would work, and then querying, and then changing data even inside like a nested objects. That was great. Uh, Also, I think also the comment section was active along the way. And there's a lot of comments I see, but Medusa says Zoot stand syntax is clearer than Redux. It's also easy to use. We'll definitely try to use it more in future projects. Uh, sure, Medusa. You can also take help from Sadanand, I guess. He has been working on Zoot stand as we were talking before the interview as well. So, Sadanand, any projects you could share? Like, what does different projects do? What were you working on?
Yeah, so I was building a resume builder
Okay.
along with two of my friends.
Okay, right.
Around folks we have had worked on resume builder. So we had used Zustand. We initially thought it's a very simple project, so we started with Zustand, and then it grew complex. And we continued using Zustand, and we did not face any such challenges. And also, it is making our whole life simpler with the state.
Right. I see it's very easy setting state and getting the state. Although in the backend they say it's very similar to Redux. There's also one question. Um, you wrote can also that this can also work with Redux dev tools. Is there a simple example of how that works?
Yeah, so Redux DevTools comes with the middleware,
Huh,
which
okay.
can be inserted into our Zustand store, and it can just pick from there. And if you have a Redux like style where you pass the type and the action
Right,
along with the
right,
payload,
right.
even that works.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything from middleware and persist. I see everything is there. If you so people do talk about this is not good for complex applications, but I'm sure you have used this in complex application and this should be working fine as we see it. Um, so we have
Yeah.
Sai Krishnapalli. I think I'll just read out the comments that they are impressed with learning about Zustand. Thanks for sharing, Sadanand. They say so. Sai Krishnapalli says, "This is the first time I'm hearing about Zustand. Uh, and great job. Thank you, Sai Krishnapalli. Thanks everyone for joining." And Rajat Pratap says, Zustand is so thin when unlike Redux, responsible for state management, right? Right. Okay, there's I guess there's a question how is React Query as a replacement of Redux ranking comparing to other options?
So React query
How is
are
Query
translate.
as a replacement of Redux ranking comparing to other options?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible, Saran.
Yeah. So I'm not sure about what does it mean by Redux ranking, but
Hmm.
if you are using React query, that is the global state management for your asynchronous
Yeah,
web page.
yeah, right.
For example, you make an API call and fetch some data. You don't need to keep it in the store. It works at the global level even if you are using at the component level.
Okay, okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what does it mean by Redux ranking comparing the to the other option.
Okay, sure. I guess we have also shared your social links and people can connect you there if they have
Yes.
any further questions and do connect with all of our speakers. So I think we this was a good talk, Sadanand. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks
And
a lot.
the next speaker for today is Darshan, an amazing friend of mine, and I learn a lot from him. So hi Darshan, and he will be talking about the future of layouts. This is an interesting concept, not a concept you would usually see on not just explaining what this is about. This is a new concept he has been thinking about for a while, and we were discussing this on a coffee yesterday. So yeah, Darshan, could you talk more about it? What this is about and a gist of what the layout is?
Yeah, hi, Saurabh. First of all,
Hello,
you are
hello,
being
Darshan.
amazing host. Like I can see that people are commenting on it. Like I saw one of the messages that, "Hi, Saurabh, big fan." I was like, "Damn, that's the like host spirit that we needed, right?" So
Thank you so much.
yeah,
And
hello,
and also good speakers
yeah,
that you need. Just hosts cannot do a great pull up an event like this.
yeah. So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Darshan, and today we're gonna talk about the future of layouts. So I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, my screen is already shared, right? Let me confirm with person. Yeah, yeah, it's there. Cool. So presenting my screen. It's the future of layouts by Darshan Barnikar. First of all, uh, hello everyone. My name is Darshan. I work as a software engineer at GeekyAnts, and a little bit about me is that I love side projects. Yeah, that's the other thing that I don't finish it on time, and some of the projects are still in progress. But I love to do experiments. If you are following me on Twitter, you have seen me that I made games on React Native. I explore internals of React Native. I little bit talk about React ecosystem. I was observing like since it's 2019. I've been working with React. I was making a first dating app in React, and it's all. I think that's the part. It's all get started. Building a dating app and then like turning into a front end engineer, and then so I have observed a lot of things like how as a in 2023 we are moving towards less boilerplate codes and all. So yeah, I haven't written blog. It's been a long, I guess it's been 2 months that I haven't written anything, but yeah, I do a blog. I write blogs. I write about TypeScript. I write about React Native. I also share my thoughts on front end engineering. And let's talk about a little bit non-technical stuff as well. So yeah, I'm a very big MCU fan, Marvel Cinematic Universe. There is a girl. So I texted her, you know what? I'm a big fan of MCU. She was like, "What is MCU?" And we just have to end the conversation there. So yeah, so I do a lot of talk about Thanos, Iron Man, and I'm still upset about the death of Iron Man. Yeah, I hope in multiverse we can have Iron Man again. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. If you are not following me on Twitter, please do it. I do share about React Native a lot. And yeah, I am so sorry, guys. I was hoping that this conference, sorry, this meetup would have been, a offline meetup, so I can see all of the faces. I can, I can actually get that acknowledgement from you guys that you are getting it. It's like I'm in the office right now. I'm in my room. I'm in my cabin, and I'm just looking at the screen, and I don't have any idea that whether you are looking at me or not, or whether you are what you're doing. So yeah, I wish, but yeah, we have a lot of meetups going on in 2023. So hope to see a next meetup will be on offline. You can follow me on Twitter or as iPoniker. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Derson Poniker. You can DM me. You can reach me out about React Native, anything related to a front-end engineer. Yeah, I would love to help. So yeah, so so today morning I was on the way to my office and I got this funny DM. He's a student. I cannot reveal his identity, but he just sent me this like, "Hey, bro, I have a doubt, bro, regarding prompt engineering." I was like, "What?" Yeah, actually, that was not his fault because I just, as a joke, I posted a Slack profile picture and I have changed my bio as a prompt engineering one. And I got a lot of comments on that and I got likes. People are DMing me that, what is prompt engineering, dude? Is this something new or not? So since we are living with the AI, artificial intelligence, open chat GPT, and lots of things going on, and we are worrying about whether the AI is gonna take our job or not, you just need to be hold up there. You have to think about how am I good in my current field, whether it's a front end or back end or anything. AI is here for help you. Is not gonna take your job. Hopefully, for next 5 years, we can say because open like ChatGPT 4 is here, and we have seen that how powerful it is, how good it is, and the plugin system is also good. Like they have introduced plugins that you can do a lot of things. So inserting, don't think AI as an enemy, but think like AI is your friend. Like you're using VS Code, like you're using anything that is helping you to level up your skills and helping you to fasten your development process and all. So yeah, don't worry about the AI thing at least for next 5 years. So yeah, even I'm not sure. Like let's say next 2 years, 3 years maybe. But don't worry about it. Just enjoy the talk. I hope you will get some knowledge throughout the PPT. But yeah, so let's talk about React Native. Okay, sorry guys, this is not a React Native talk, right? This is a Next.js. This is a React and Next.js meetup. So we have to talk about it. Yeah, and also this was scripted. Yeah, this was scripted, right? I'm not gonna talk about React Native. Uh, this was just as a joke that I think that you are getting bored. So yeah. So yeah, React Native talk we can have after some time. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about the problem of layout and the solution. Yeah, I wanted to keep this talk as forward as I can because this is a very generic problem. No matter what framework, no matter what library, no matter what you are using, layouts are everywhere, right? But we have some problems with layout that are unnoticeable. Now, what does that mean? You found this as a problem, but then you realize, you know what? This is not a problem. We can just avoid it by somehow. And avoiding a problem and ignoring warnings, we are first on that, right? We just do that. You know what? That's a yellow sign. But then we said, you know what? We don't need to care about it. It's just a warning, right? We can ignore it, and yeah, that's fine. Everything is working great. Yeah, our life is good, but the problems are serious with the layouts. And the developers working at Versal and the Remix team, they have identified this problem of like while ago, and they build the first thing they built was React Router version 6, and the second thing they built was Next.js 13 app directory Versal team, and Remix framework is doing great. So yeah, so this we will show what is the problem. I'll walk through the what is the problem with the current layout and how this technologies, these libraries are solving it. And yeah, so we are not like just we are not going to jump onto the solution. No, it's not going to make any sense. We will start from scratch, and then we will reach here in 2023, and then we will see how this thing is going to help us. Yeah. So How many of you know about the island layout? I bet if you are learning CSS, I bet if you are building an HTML, you have familiar with a site tag, you're familiar with main tag, header tag, and footer tag. Let's say you are learning CSS, you have learned CSS, you know grid, you know Flexbox, how Flexbox works, you know how grid system works. And then you ask someone, you know what, I think I have learned something. What should I do now? They were like, you know what, bro, build a layout. Just build a basic layout and flex that layout on Twitter. You just have to go to Twitter. You have to take a screenshot of it and just write some catchy line that, hey, I made this with CSS. It's really easy. I learned grid. I learned Flexbox, and that's it. And people will comment you that, you know what, that's really great. Can you share a source? And all that. Yeah. So that's how the Twitter thing works. But I think it's really amazing community. So please you follow each other, share your thoughts on there, and yeah. So yeah. So we all are familiar with island layout. It's amazing. It was I think in 1919 when the web was first founded. I'm like in the 90s era and not 1990. When web was founded, it was a document model, right? So we need to navigate throughout the pages. So we need sidebar, we need header. Header is like we will basically address the page, and we have a footer and all. So this was the island layout that been introduced, and you have, I think, 90% of you people have actually used it, right? Actually have used it and build it, and you can still see in like Google. If you're a blogger, if you probably have used something like Google Blogspot, you will see that we have sidebar, we have footer, and then we have event contain. Yeah. So this was a very basic layout, and we don't have to do anything, right? This was really easy. And if I tell you, we are a React developer, so if I tell you know what, create this thing in React right now, you don't have to create it right now. I have already created it, so I'll just show you the coding implementation of how you will do it. So yeah, this is a code structure. We have header, we have subheader. Let's say it's an add-on thing. We have sidebar, we have main content, and then we have footer. And we are just wrapping everything around main tag. Just giving you the nice and fresh vibe. Then we realize that wait. We're not gonna make a single page application SPA. We are living in 2023 and web is so dynamic that I don't think so SPA is gonna be there. So we have to make a multi-page application. Now we have to think about, okay, in client side React app, they don't provide out of the box routing solution. What we have to use some third party library like React version 6, and there's also React. I think there is also a library for a routing system which is provided by Time Stack. But yes, there are server options available, and you have to choose it. But let's see a basic architecture of how the multi-page application will look. So this is how the multi-page application will look like. You have a React router, regardless what library you are using, or let's say you have implemented by own. I salute you if you do that. And you have path like /admin /login /dashboard /profile /search, anything, and then you have a component there, right? So basically, these components are mapped with a path. So once you visit that path, you have the component, right? So this is how the very high level. It's a very high level diagram of architecture of app architecture, right? So can you say that your app router is actually a backbone of your application? Yeah, it is, because it basically, so how will user will interact with your components throughout the router, right? Throughout the path. They cannot just gonna simply gonna Google it and then, you know what, hey, there's an application, this is a component. No, it's not gonna behave like this. There is a link, right? There is a link that maps that component with with that particular link. So this is how the multi-page application will look like. And I guess there are so many solutions of it. You just have to use it. Now what? So let's say we have we are using this layout. We are using this island layout in on every page. Let's suppose you are building a website for a company. Let's say for a real estate management company. Now in real estate, we have so many pages, but we have some common things, right? Header, footer, navigations, maybe something else. Maybe you have used your creativity to build something, but then you realize, you know what? I have found a pattern here that I'm using the components everywhere, and I don't want to write code again and again. So one of your teammates had decided in mind, you know what? Let's create a component called base, and then we will just gonna put every common component is there, and we're gonna call a base component, and everything will be good. Life is great again, haha. So yeah, we created a base component, and we said that's fine. Now use it everywhere, and we are feeling proud. We are again going on Twitter. We are posting some, some insightful quotes on it that how you should write your React application, and then you will get followers, comments, yeah, everything's fine. And then someone will call you for to give you a talk about it. Yeah. So what next? Then I realized reusability will not help you to build a components. Reusability will not help you to build a shared layout. We are talking about the shared layout, guys. Now, what does that mean? Let's suppose you are building a product, a dashboard for product analysis tool. You have product data, you have invoice, you have bill requests. So now so we are moving toward the complexity of layouts, right? We have so much complexity of layouts, and I don't think so. If you are building something, let's say application, you have an analytic panel in which you have so many options, like a product, invoice, bill receipt, chats, contact support. I don't know what next. You are everything putting on a single page. So you have to create a share, something like a share layout, or you have to create something that basically, manage everything as a code quality, as a user experience, or anything. So you have to create a table. You have to like manage your app. You have to architect your app that way. So reusability is just a part of a code quality, is not an entire code quality. Sometimes I feel that we are using this code quality so much that we have forgotten that code quality is not like you're not just gonna wrap the function, wrap the code around with the function, like and then you're gonna call it. This is not a code word, right? You have to think like architecture. Even though you are a front end engineer, you have to think like, what will happen if I open this code base after 1 year, after 1 week? Not just say 1 year, but just 1 week. Will you able to manage the code? It's gonna be really hard because you are working on multiple things at the same time, and I really don't think so. It's gonna be really easy for you to manage this thing. So yeah, think about it. Take a pause, gather all around. You know what? We have to think about it. We cannot use something like this. Reusability is okay, but we cannot use it anywhere, everywhere. This will just mess up. And one day we have to think about migration code, and I don't want to do that because we already migrated our JavaScript code with TypeScript, and now we are using Next.js. And now someone's calling me, you know what? Next.js sucks. Let's use Remix and all. This is so annoying, right? So yeah, let's. I know this is so annoying. So let's talk about how can we build a very good application. So yeah, so let's keep moving. Now we have as a code structure, you can see header, subheader, sidebar, product view, invoice, main, get, and footer. So your component tree are getting wider and wider. You have so many things in your component, and you're like, this looks really good. Like this is beautifully. Thanks to Prettify for beautifully manage our code syntax and all. I like it. But then you realize this is becoming harder because now we have so many pages, and now this component needs to be on every single pages. Reusability will help you, but it also has a little bit concern. It comes with a concern, right? Let's see what concerns is with reusability. So first thing, I think reusability is for a better development experience, right? I love it. I'm not saying I hate reusability. I love it. I can just wrap that code that I'm using it a lot of time in my application. I just create a new file and I'm just gonna call it that thing on every single page. That's fine. Life is good. I can make changes on there. I can like I don't have to go back and forth in my code structure. I don't have to use like command P and then change it at all. That's fine. Reusability or for a better developer experience. That's totally great. But what about the user experience, dude? You are just pushing that code on every single file. So your file is basically getting bigger. Think like this, right? You have a you have 5 pages and you're just copying and pasting. Eventually it's just a copy paste. It's just the same pattern. The coding is just the same pattern. You're just copying, pasting all the code across the across all the pages. So it just your bundle size is not a bundle size, but the page size is getting bigger and bigger as your layout get complex. Okay, yeah. What about re-rendering? Now, okay, I have to take a pause with this because re-rendering. What about re-rendering? Obviously, re-rendering is a part of your React application. You are importing a base component, right? And then you are basically calling that function on every single page. So whenever you navigate between the pages, you will see that your pages are getting your base component basically getting re-rendered every time. Now you will say that you know what, that's not a big thing, right? That's you are just bluffing. Re-rendering is not a problem because our layouts are very basic that even if it's get re-rendered, it does not affect the performance. I totally agree with you at that point, right? I'm not saying, I'm saying as a complex, as your layout complexity get increased, right? Then your layout is not simple. We are not living in dynamic layout era, but we are living in dynamic island era, right? iPhone 14 Pro is there. We have complex layouts. So I think if you are just using reusability, and if you are just creating a common components, and if you are just importing it everywhere, there is some way your performance of your application is getting hurt. But we don't know unless we do something like lighthouse check. We don't know unless someone raise it. As a developer, our job is to do something, to build some products. A quality sometimes get compromised, but we have to do a lot of things to improve the quality. And this is where the layouts comes in the picture. Yeah, so re-rendering makes sense. So as I told you earlier, it's rendered on every route. Let's suppose you have a dashboard, you have so many pages, you have analyze pages, you have context support pages, and let's suppose it's related to a product, right? So you have a nested layout. So now we are introducing here a nested layout thing, right? Because in dashboard, you need a nested thing. You cannot just use a simple layout and implement everything. It's not gonna make sense. And in the long term, you have to think about it. You have to gather all the people again, and you have to think about it. That what we have done, we have to think something. We cannot use this code again and again. Our product manager are getting so angry on it because he is not able to add extra features. Yes, he's thinking that, you know what, it's a Friday evening, let's ask developer to work extra hours, and let's ask them to, implement this feature on Monday so we can finish it on Sunday, and then we will deploy it on a Monday morning. And hopefully, if everything is fine, our life is good, we can live in we can have a good life. But we don't have that architecture, right? It's really hard. As I told you, when you create a complex layout, you indirectly or directly introduce nested layouts. Now, what does that mean, and how it is related to our routes? Nested layout means that you have a common layout. Now you are using a dashboard. So for a dashboard, you have a side navigation, you have a top navigation, you also have something else. So you created another layout for dashboard layout, right? And then so now in the top you have main layout, on the top you have a dashboard layout, and then you have a content, right? So this is how the nested layout will look like. But yeah, again, uh, a little bit reordered of slides. So rendering is not expensive until you do some crazy thing on on your common component. Let's say you are calling some heavy APIs, and your AWS are generating a bill, and one day a backend team gather around and, say, hey, front end developers, you are doing something good, you are doing something bad. We checked the logs, and you are making a network request, you are making 10,000 network requests on every single hour. So what the hell you are doing? Are you mad? And then we realize, oh, we kind of forget to add dependency array in use effect hook, and that's why it's happening. Sorry, it's my fault. And then back end engineer say, you know what? Okay, that's fine. Now you have to pay $10,000. We're like, no. So yeah, rendering is not expensive until you do some crazy thing in your components with use effect hook, anything. So yeah, so it's not random, it's not expensive. Yeah. So moving toward the nested layout things, if you are following Ryan Florence, if you are following Lee Robinson, if you are following a lot of amazing or legendary folks who are doing amazing job to make our life easier, one of the talks in which Ryan Florence explaining about the remix, how remix router is working, and how React Router version 6 is working. He said that if your UI is nested, your route should be nested. And I take a pause. So when I first time I saw this slide. I was having a lunch, and I thought, what the hell is talking about? Like, UI is nested, routes is nested. We just have to create. We just have to use a router library. We are gonna map a link with that component, and that's it. We are done. But then I realized, what if we are making a complex layouts, what we are making a complex dashboard? Because you know what, this problem is very unnoticeable, because we can solve it by creating a common component. That's not a big deal there. And just stop presenting it, and just give the stage to another folks so they can talk about something important. But let's talk about a broader view, right? Let's talk about how this will affect in long run, because we obviously were engineers and we talk about complexity a lot, and we try to reduce and minimize this complexity. And then I thought, I did a research, and I realized, you know what, it's really important to make a route, nesting route, and it's really important to make sure that you are sharing a same layout. You are not making mistake with the UI. You are not using only reusability, but you're using some principle, the core principle of the UI, of how to create a proper layout. I know this is becoming a little bit philosophical, but yeah, if your UI is nested, your route should be nested. If you don't get this quote, that's totally fine. I'll simplify you this in next slide. Okay, imagine you are building a dashboard. You are building, and by the way, this image is taken reference from Next.js layout RFC. So there was a page in which they were explaining that how Next 13 app directory will help you to create a layout out of the box without doing any extra additional tasks. So let's suppose you are creating a dashboard and you have a routes like /admin /setting /slash dashboard /analyze /dashboard /user product and all. Now, what you can do is you have this segment, right? You have a dashboard segment, you have a setting segment. So now the thing is confirmed that dashboard is gonna be your first segment. So that means that dashboard has some layout. It can be set by the next segment, which is setting. So here in dashboard, we have a common layout that can be set by a lot of sub segment, or let's say children of the dashboard like setting. So imagine if you have a dashboard layout. Now if you have a dashboard layout, now instead of wrapping that thing with every single page like setting app, what if you just share it? What if you just share it with that, and you just change that part? You just change the last segment. Like currently we have setting, but let's say in future we have profile and so on. So we don't have to, we don't have to rerun this dashboard layout again and again, re-enter the dashboard layout again and again. Is it possible? Maybe. Let's see. So again, so let's see, let's use some pen and paper, but I cannot use it because we are in digital era, right? So we have to use something like Excel Draw. Thanks like huge shout out to Excel Draw for making a very good very good like canvas based drawing board. I really like it, and I basically use it a lot in my daily use. So let's suppose you are building a dashboard. You have a lot of tabs. You have header, you have product. I'm just taking an example of product and sales because business runs on sales, business runs on product. So it's really important us to use a metaphorical word that we are using it on our day-to-day life. So yeah, so now we have a main layout. Everything is wrapped or surrounded by this main layout. It's very beautiful. I like it. Now you have a nested layout in which this portion, like this highlighted portion, are the last segment of your URL. If you want to go, if I can go back to the path, you will realize that we have a setting segment, right? So what will happen? This red highlighted part is that setting segment, and part is a setting segment, and the background is a main layout. So let's suppose if you are going from setting to user page, if you are going from setting to product page, it should not, this non-highlighted part should not be re-rendered. Just the main content of your app, the main focus, like the spotlight thing, right? It's that part only gets rendered and not another parts. Now I know that you're probably thinking, you know what, this guy is talking about re-rendering a lot. React is taking care of that part as well. Like out of the box, Dan Abram has said that you don't have to worry about re-rendering unless you're doing something crazy. But I want to know that this is not about re-rendering. This is about how well you are structuring your app so it in long run it can get scaled. It's more about developer experience and user experience. Because let's suppose if someone is having a low internet, the rate and let's suppose someone is having a low end devices, and if you are even like let's say a low end laptop as well, it's not about mobile, it's about laptop as well. Rendering everything takes a time, even it's milliseconds, and even millisecond is really important for us. Like even of 2 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds are really important for us. So we should always try to give 100% code quality and 100% product quality. I know it's really hard, but we can do a lot of experiment and research going on there. That's how the framework has been made. That's how the library They made a library. Like everything started with a problem, and then we have a very good, beautiful solution that we couldn't even imagine that, you know what, this is a real, like React is real, React Native is also real, Flutter is real. So yeah, that's where all this gets started, the problem and the solution. And that's why I just had a two agenda. So you got the point, right? Nested layout. We have a nested layout, we have nested route. So the changing portion only gets rendered and not the entire layout. We get it, person. So now what you're saying, we shouldn't use some, like, we shouldn't use this library. We shouldn't use, or we need to think about it that how we're gonna implement it. Uh, a little bit, yes, but it depends on how complex layouts you're building. If it is not complex, you're good. Just think about how you're gonna migrate it in future if there is a need. Otherwise, that's fine. Don't do it. Solution. So we talk about the problem. I know I have talked about a lot of re-rendering stuff. Again, re-rendering is just a small part of that problem. The problem is really huge, even especially if you are working with some large layouts, large dashboard. Let's say dashboard is very complex, and eventually we will have this dashboard because as our product gets bigger and bigger, we have a lot of users. So we have to take care of the user. We have to take care of their needs, their wishes, and we have to also observe that our product is not getting spoiled anywhere. So yeah, dashboard is important thing when it comes to product building. In Facebook, in Instagram, we all have our customized dashboard. If you are doing a business, if you are an influencer, dashboard is a core part of our application. We cannot imagine a web application without dashboard, right? So yeah, and dashboard consists of layout. It's built on top of layout. So layouts are also important, and we should not compromise there. Because again, I never thought that I never seen people are talking about layouts. People are just using React or DOM and any meta framework, and that's fine. That's it. We are done. That's it. But let's talk about it today since we are here. So yeah, the main concept, or the major point of this slide is next certain app directory. So this has been launched, I think, last year. Next.js announced app directory feature, and I thought page directory is working. Like page directory is really awesome. I like it because they are providing a file based routing, which is really good. Because when I was building a client side routing, I have to think about it, that how I'm gonna structure my app, screen wise, component wise, and all. And I have to take care of that. If I'm onboarding a new person, if I'm onboarding some new developer, they should be able to understand it. Otherwise, what's the point? So I was a little worried about it, and like on every single application that I'm making, I have to use some different strategy. Because I as long as as I'm moving forward, and as I'm working with multiple application, I realize that, the solution is not sufficient. We have to do working with something else, and that's why. But Nexus page directory was so awesome. They provided out of the box route, like file based routing, and that was good. But then we realized that it is not good for building a layout. Yeah, why? Because again, we already talked about it, so I don't want to go there again. So see, so your app directory consists pages, the pages, and each, like, your app directory has a folder. Now, you can create server folders, and your each folder act as a segment of that route. So let's suppose if you have a slash dashboard, that folder will act as a dashboard. If you have a user and all and so on. So now, so each directory represent a layout. Each directory represent index.js, and each directory has three files. I'm sorry that file did not have, I forget to add that file on it. But each segment has their own layout. Each segment has their own how to handle pending UI set and all, and each segment has their own way to create their layout thing, right? So they can share this segment with their child. So let's suppose if your page directory has some main layout, so now you don't need to create the reusable component, but you can create a layout.js file here. And once you create it, now you are indirectly, not indirectly, but you are technically and directly sharing this layout with across all your child segments, and that's it. That's the point. This is how you're going to make the layouts in future. This is how the app directory is basically making sure that you don't have to worry about how to structure your application. This is not limited to Next.js, by the way. this is not limited to Next.js, but this is also um, the remix router is also providing the same solution. I think this pattern or this solution, whatever you say, was first introduced in React out of DOM version 6. So let's suppose if you have implemented your if you have migrated your React client side app from the version 5 to version 6, you have seen that they have introduced something called shared layout. Now probably this is not a need for, like, for all of us. We are building a very basic application, but as our complexity get increased, we have more and more nested layouts. We need to think about how we can share this layout across our pages seamlessly, so we don't have to create this reusable component, because again, reusability is just a part of the code quality, and developer experience is not, it's not the entire developer experience. So yeah, so always take care of that part when we are building, and taking care of the pending UI state and loading error. I have already given a talk on Reactify that this is a real problem. Loading error whenever we submit page, whenever we are fetching some data, we have this real thing like loading error and maybe success state. But React does not has this solution for a long time. Out of the box, React is not providing anything. It's just a UI library. It takes your DOM, it renders it makes sure that if there is any difference, we are gonna make it right. Okay, so yeah, this is how. So Next.js out of the box is also taking care of the loading and error screen as well, right? You can learn more about it, because right now I have very short time span to represent everything. But yeah, you can read more about it. And again, Next 13 app directory is in a beta feature, so make sure if you are using it in production, you are not making any crazy stuff there. Okay, so please make sure on it. And also, if you are not using Meta framework, you can use React out of version 6, and they have this share layout thing. So eventually, as I told you, you have a share layout called dashboard, and each dashboard has a page like home and setting, and then you can use it anywhere. That's fine. Life is good now. And it dashboard layout again. So this will get rendered only once, even though we were navigating between home and setting. This will only render as one. So now you can make sure that that life is good. Now AWS is fine. Now backend TV is not complaining it anymore. Everything is fine. We are a good front end developer, right? So yeah, it awesome but complex. I can understand if you're not getting this point of shared layout and like nested layout and nested routing. It's totally fine. Again, as I told you, it's not important for, if you are building a very simple application, if your application like complexity scale is between this, easy to moderated, you don't have to worry about it. But as your complexity is getting bigger and bigger, you have to think about it. And I know implementing a standard layout is a little bit complex challenge, and it is challenging stuff. By the way, it's not like it's gonna be very easy. You have to think about it. You have to architect your app that way. So don't worry about it. If you're not getting it in future, maybe you will get it. Yeah. Again, so to use it, I think I already given you the answer of this thing. It depends how complex your app is, and it depends what is a requirement of your app. If your app consists a dashboard which has a very nested layouts like product layout, and then that's it. So yeah, you have to you may need app something like app directory or maybe a remix router. But yeah, so you have to gather all the people again. You know what, we have to talk about it. There is a new technology in market called Next.js 13. They are providing this app directory thing, and you have to explain everything, that what is nested layout and why we need it. Yeah, that's it. And maybe your manager will say, you know what, we don't need that. let's let's uh let's put this in let's move this ticket to on hold, or ignore this for right now. We will do something like this. But yeah, eventually you have to use it, maybe. Yeah. Can we implement shared layout by our own? This is a really so when I was building this PPD, I don't want to sound like I'm marketing next 13 app directory, or I'm marketing React out of version 6. I just identified this problem. I just wanted to describe or address this problem in this PPD. So if you are not big fan, or if you are not big fan of Next.js, or if you are not big fan of any third-party library, you believe in your code, you can also implement by own. You just maybe I will give you a hint that use switch statement. Just create a components, a basic like common components, and use switch statement, and just keep track on the last segment, and based on that, just change the layout. Yeah, maybe. Or you can also add it, depends on the requirement. Again, I'm just saying at the end, you are the developer, you have a team, you have an engineering manager, you have to discuss about that. So yeah, make sure if you build, and if you're building your solution by your own, please share with us so we can also learn from it. Yeah. Yeah. So summary, layouts are backbone of your application. Layouts and routers are, they both are backbone of your application. You need to also, I would like to add this point that you need to balance between the developer experience and user experience. If developer experience is really good, that doesn't mean user experience is awesome, skyrocketing. No, and the back and forth. So you need to take care of this thing. Shared layout, again, shared layouts are something that is basically shared with multiple pages, so you can make sure that you are not, like, you are not shipping the extra code to the browser, and you are just um, maintaining the spotlight thing on the main part, right? And usability does not lead to a good user experience. Usability is really great, but there are so many chunks around it. So like reusability, you think like reusability with declarative pattern, that makes more sense, right? So yeah, that's it. That's a summary. If you have any question, feel free to ask me. Thank you. That's all. Thank you for listening me. Thank you. If you found that something is wrong, you can ask me. Uh, you can ask me to. I'll explain you. And yeah, so this is my Twitter handler, like iPoniker. In LinkedIn, you can find me on Darshan Poniker. You can DM me if you have any suggestions, if you have any problem. And this is my official portfolio link, its ponika.tech. I don't know. It's been like year. I have purchased this domain name. I have to renew it. So that was a reminder for me as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for thank you so much everyone who is joining remotely. I know you are probably enjoying your weekend, eating some nachos and hanging out with friends. So have a great weekend. And I'm in Bangalore. So if you are in Bangalore, around in Kormangla, we can meet and we can discuss about the future of the product development. Yeah. Thank you again. Bye everyone. Yeah, over to you, Saurav.
Hi, Darshan. I think that was
Yeah,
a good
hi.
talk. Yeah, yeah. So I'm saying that was a good talk. The best thing about a movie is they take you through problems, 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 and then suddenly there's a good solution. So that was the best part, I think. Also,
Yeah.
yeah. Guys, if you have any questions, you can put that up on the comment section. When you started the event, people did say they were fascinated that the layout is called island layout. Uh, like we just have uh, a certain layout and we keep continuing that for over the time, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, we know Darshan as someone who is curious. And even yesterday, I guess we were talking about how he reduced an app loading time for uh, from 2 to 3 seconds to 400 milliseconds. I guess he's even curious to optimize the process for developers, for the app, for users.
Yeah.
So thank you, Darshan. We are short on time. We have to have a break of for 10 minutes. So, but I wish we could have a lot more conversation. Uh,
Yes, sure.
I think we discussed this question, but there was one question. We have an outlet in React Router version 6, which is the same.
I cannot see that question. Bhusan, can you
Okay,
put that?
okay. That was by Basavaraj Patil.
Okay. I cannot see that question. Bhusan, can you put that
Okay,
question on stage if it is possible?
okay.
Yeah. We have an outlet in React.com, which is the same. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was talking about, right? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So like Next 13 has introduced, so this solution was not exist until Remix introduced it, and Next JS 13 introduced it, right? So yeah, so I think the pattern are same for meta frameworks and client side framework, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
you are right,
Right.
you're totally right, Patil.
Right, right. Thank you, Basraj Patil. And I think I spelled it right. Also, I'll start the break with a quote. I think we discussed about how AI is taking over. I think Saurabh Sahu mentioned how AI could be a great tool, and who wouldn't use this could say that AI could take over. So we'll be going for a good amount of break for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Have your coffee, read through your notes if you're making some, and thank you so much for joining. We'll continue this after some time. We'll be rejoining at after in 10 minutes. We have Rajat and Shreya who would be discussing about React fibers and also how React is a game changer. So those seem to be an exciting topics. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Um, hello, hi, everyone. Hope you had enough necessary amount of coffee, and hope you, if not, if coffee is still being made, you can also have the coffee and have a notebook because the next speaker coming up is Rajat Pratap Singh. Could you have, yeah, Rajat Pratap Singh. He is from Damage Apparel.
Yep. Yep.
Am I
Yep.
spelling it right?
You
Okay,
absolutely
great.
correct.
So he will be giving a great talk on React Fiber, which also I am very much interested in. And Rajat, tell us something about you.
Yeah, sure. So my complete name is Rajat Pratap Singh, and I'm working with Demenge Apparels Private Limited. And yeah, I'm currently working with them as a front end developer.
Okay,
Although I contribute on back end too. Probably that gave me quite a bit of instinct. Okay, I'm a full stack developer. Okay, never mind. So yeah,
okay.
I have started my career around 4 years back, and since then I have got chance to work upon with React, some of the libraries which are evolving around React, which include
Hmm,
Next.js
right.
and other libraries, UI supporting libraries like which includes Material UI and Design, quite a few of others.
Yeah. Just a quick plug-in. Did you use native base?
Yep, I have.
Yeah, yeah. So we have been building native base, which is a great UI component library.
Yeah.
And thank you so much,
Actually,
Rajat,
actually,
for
uh,
joining.
actually, that was the reason why I came in touch with this organization, GeekyAnts. And thank you so much for you, Saurav. Thank you so much to GeekyAnts for giving me the chance to share my knowledge with you.
Thank you, Rajat, for joining us. This is a great talk going on. Thank you so much, people. If you love what is happening, do share it with people. Let more people join in, and let us speakers share more knowledge to more amount of people, and let the community grow. Thank you so much for joining, Rajat, and I'll let the stage be taken over by you.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So, okay, fine. So I believe my screen is visible. Cool. So I'll start. What is exactly React Fiber? So React Fiber is nothing but an algorithm which has completely revolutionized this rendering thing when it comes to React. Because when React was introduced, it was first of all, I guess it was one of the side project of one of the Facebook developer. Then it got into the mainstream, and then later on Facebook has launched it. Since then quite a few of the evolution has happened within React team, and obviously this React Fiber algorithm too. So yeah, so before deep diving into what exactly is React, I want to just take a bit of second and draw your attention towards the very basic concepts of OOPS, which includes obviously the abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. I won't go really deep into that one. I believe you would be having quite a few of instinct about it, but my clear focus is towards the very first one, which is abstraction. So abstraction basically means hiding the complex functionality and letting only the user letting only the user be familiar with what exactly is needed for them. So I believe this is like the entry point. This is the entry point, which is for all of the React entry point for any of the React application. Everyone would have seen this thing. Now, so the thing which I want to draw your attention towards it, that regardless of React Fiber was in the picture or the previous algorithm which was based on stack that was in the picture, we have got introduced with both of them, and the developer has never had to be worried about it. So now drawing your attention towards this thing, this is nothing but a component on the left hand side. Actually, they are the same components, and this particular code can easily be found on the Meta developers repository for the React. And on the left hand side, you can easily see the the older version of React and its impact, and on the right hand side you can see the newer version's impact. clearly there's a slight of glitch is there on the left hand side. The left hand side is having a slight of frame drops are there. On the right hand side, the frame drops are not so very much, they are fluent, and that is only because the left hand side was made up of the older React version and the right hand side is made up of the newer React version, which is using the React Fiber. So the previous algorithm was based on stacks, and I'll come to the point why exactly this stack thing is coming into the picture. But before that, I would like to draw your attention towards this frame dropping thing, because a normal user is only considered, he is not responsible for what is happening inside the browser. He is only keen to be interested about what is happening on his screen, and his screens are all about pixels. So pixels need to be get painted, and when it comes to the pixel painting, it is very much mandatory that the number of frames which are getting painted, that should be lesser than greater than or equal to the 30 frames per second. Anything greater than 30 within a per second, that is enhancing the quality. And that's why probably this now the newer televisions and everything is promoting that, okay, I have this 80K or 1080 HD quality, whatever. So now the previous algorithm was based on recursion, and when it comes to recursion, if you would have solved quite, I'm pretty sure that you would have solved quite a few of the problems which were based on recursion. And so the recursion is basically is responsible for maintaining the memory stacks, the auxiliary stacks, and this recursion was basically doing the certain sort of DOM manipulation, and that DOM manipulation going through that DOM manipulation was going through a synchronous operation. And when it comes to the synchronous operation, there will be certain of the hinges will be there. So what exactly these hinges would be causing? These hinges would be causing this slight of delays. There will be certain of the delays in the rendering. Now, okay, so just to divide this, the amalgamation of React, JavaScript, what is happening on the DOM, let me
Um, I think we lost Rajat. Team, could you confirm on this? I cannot see. Yeah, okay. I think we lost on Rajat on at this point. Also, guys, people in the comment section, if you have any question related to React Fiber, anything related to performance, we would be open to questions, and I'll be asking that to Rajat. Um, okay, so we will be asking Rajat to rejoin if he can. Uh, Also, people use the comment section for networking. That is one point we do not have with on-premise. Uh, because we do not have an on-premise meetup, that doesn't mean the only restriction that we have is networking and will not do that on the internet. We could, right? And in the last, okay, I guess we have him. Do we? uh, Rajat, I can see your screen, but I cannot see your video. Hello? Rajat, can you hear me? Mm, not sure. So, yeah, I was talking about Darshan basically was speaking about how an on-premise meet would be great, but I think this is also great. As you see, Rajat is not from Bangalore, but he could share about React Fiber and on this event, and we could all be together to be listening to him. And I actually can see his screen. He is mentioning about problems and solutions. I think this is a good part, but I don't think he can listen to us because he's changing the slides for some reason. Uh, Team, could you communicate with Rajat that we cannot see him on the screen? Okay, okay, we are trying. Great, great. Hmm. I guess we'll need to hold on for a few minutes. A good time if you uh, had to go back to get a cup of coffee again, or give it a little more boil to keep it hot for a longer time. Team, could we share his screen if he is trying to say something, or he is switching back between tabs now? Okay. Rajat, if you can hear me, I guess he is looking into the stream. We cannot hear you, we cannot see you. Again, thank you everyone for joining the event. And we continue to do this. We have many communities, as I shared, React Native, React, Flutter communities, irrespective of whichever technology you have. We have communities both on LinkedIn and Twitter and all other spaces or social medias you would be following. And we keep sharing knowledge. And if you follow any of the developers, I'm sure you would see us sharing knowledge because we love to do that. So yeah, Rajat is back. Good to see you, Rajat, back again.
Yep, I think I had missed something.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
We were going good. So let's continue. Let's continue the journey.
okay,
This was a good story we were going on. Let's continue that.
okay.
Sure.
So,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
okay, cool. So I believe my screen is visible.
Yeah, we can see your screen, although I can see Canva.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just a
Okay,
second.
right.
Just a second.
But the resolution is not that great for
Okay,
me,
okay.
maybe. Not sure about the people. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I can see React Fiber.
So is it visible?
Yeah, as I said, the resolution is not that great. Maybe I can see your video, so probably your network is fine,
Mhm.
but I cannot see anything that's below React Fiber.
Okay. So
Okay, okay, now your video paused.
okay, just help me out with this one. Okay.
Sure, sure, sure.
Is it
Maybe you
visible?
could recheck the internet. We also cannot see your video, so maybe you could recheck the internet, Wi-Fi, and maybe you could turn off camera if that is taking a lot of internet, as Sadanand suggested. Okay, okay. We also have people in the comment section helping us. See, that's I guess the beauty of a community. People coming forward when someone has a problem. So does Quora and Stack Overflow. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I think that helped. The turn off the camera helped.
So is it visible now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see the text. I can see you also. Okay. We are
Okay.
back.
Awesome.
I guess we are back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Let's hope
goodness.
for the
And
best.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
sure. You were going great. So don't
okay.
hesitate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everyone
Yeah.
for supporting.
Sure.
So I'll probably give a kickstart right away from the start. Probably that will help us to be in the same zone where we were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
We also have a confirmation from the audience that the video is clear.
Okay.
So you could
Awesome.
fast go through and a revision to all of this that we have
Okay.
had because we have had a lot. Sure.
Okay. Awesome. So, yep. So, as I was saying that before getting a deeper dive into what exactly is React Fiber, take a time back and jump into the older topics. One of which is abstraction out of oops. And abstraction is clearly visible at the entry point of a React application, which is this very app.tsx or app.js, which is clearly visible to any of the React application. Rather, you create it with the help of CRA or White or Weed, however you want to pronounce that one. So yep. So I was on this particular screen. This is like one of the component which shows the example for both of the algorithms. The previous one, the React uh, React Fiber, which is on the right hand side, and the left hand side is shown with the help of recursive algorithm, which is responsible for your the DOM manipulation. So the previous one is having certain of the hinges, and those hinges are clearly visible because of the frame drops. And frame drops, when I say frame drops, basically I mean to say that there are certain procedures that is entirely different story. So there are certain procedure how this HTML CSS things are coming up on your DOM, and how this pixels, this LCD, LED, whatever screen you are having, that is getting painted. So that is actually responsible for giving you a fluent, that's the better word to say, a seamless, I think that's the better word to say, a seamless view of any of the application, any animation or anything. Now, these hinges which are getting caused because of this stack algorithm, that will cause certain of the hinges, certain of the delays will be there. Now, React Fiber get us introduced with certain of the asynchronous operations. Now, these asynchronous operations are there. So, okay, so when it is asynchronous operation, I need to draw your attention towards one thing which we would have, must have gone through, which is named as global execution context. Because when it comes to the global execution context, probably that explains the best how actually JavaScript explain the asynchronous operation of itself. So I just want to let you derive your analogy out of global execution context, and hold it in your one left hand or right hand, any of your favorite hand, and just hold on to that global execution context analogy. And I just want to draw your attention towards the refinement of what exactly I have told you about the React Fiber. So I believe everyone would have come across this statement in JavaScript that everything in JavaScript is nothing but an object. So tada, even the React Fiber is. React Fiber is even the simple JavaScript object which is holding certain properties of the React element. Now the new jargon is into the town, which is React element. So there are two of the statements which can be a little bit of confusing. One is React element, one is React component. So React element is nothing but the clearly the JSX, which you can use without supporting of any of the UI libraries. And when those JSX are getting combined, you can clearly observe the combination of those JSX in the form of React component. Now, these are few of the properties which are visible to us, which can be the property of the React JSX React element. Now, so coming back to this thing which we had held in our favorite hand, the global execution context. So how, let's just revise what was happening inside this global execution context. So let's suppose there is certain operation which is going on, and then that operation is having certain asynchronous operation that will go into the web API. It will then wait over there, it will go into the respective queue. Now event loop will find, okay, now my main thread is empty, I would have to push it into the main stack. So now that's how the asynchronous operation is getting handled. So is there any event loop inside the React Fiber too? So not exactly event loop, but there is something similar to event loop, which is named as requested idle callback. So that is again an implementation. If your browser supports that one, well and good. If your browser doesn't support that one, even better, because React team has taken care of that thing with the help of their polyfills. Now that polyfill will help you out to replicate exact operation of this event loop. Now, let's take an example. That example will be showing you how exactly this DOM manipulation thing is going on. So this DOM manipulation thing, I'll take an example. Let's suppose there's one list component is there that is having this list, which is having UL element, and there will be LI element showing this 1, 2, 3, 3 digits, nothing too much fancy about it. There is one button, you will click on that one, that will make the square, and the square of each of the individual numbers. So Now, just making a wild guess, let's suppose you clicked on that button, it is squared, and in order to make things little bit more complicated, let's just introduce one more button, which will be responsible for increasing the size, the font size from X size to 2X size. Now, in the chat box, you can make your wild guess how this updation would happen. It be like, okay, first the squares would happen. One will get square to one, two will square get to four, three to nine, and then the size will get increased. Is it so or is it not? Answer I'll give. You can make your wild guess inside the this chat area. So let me tell you that there is, with the help of requested idle callback or this polyfill, there will be there will be actually two phases which will be responsible for this DOM manipulation. One is the render phase and one is the commit phase. So render phase always has the higher priority. That's the point number one, which we have to take in grasp from this thing, from this discussion, from this slide specifically. So render phase is having the higher priority. So render phase is responsible for the logical manipulation, and the commit phase is responsible for the cosmetic changes. Now, answer to that question which I had asked about, that how exactly this manipulation would happen. So answer is, first 3 will get changed. 3 will get changed to 9. 9 will get increased its size to 2 times, and then 2 will get changed to its size of, sorry, 2 will get changed to 4, and then its size will increase, and so on and so forth. The one will not get updated, one only size will get updated. So that's how this updation is happening. So in order to give the graphical representation how this thing is happening, okay, I can draw your attention towards this thing. Let's suppose there is one component, this root. Obviously, I believe everyone is familiar with this index.html, where there's div, there's root with an ID. There's a div with root ID, and then there comes the list component, and there's a button, as what I had just created the analogy for. So there are list items li1, li2, li3. How this updation is happening, that you clicked on the button, some state updation process is getting flowed. It's like a waterfall is falling, again, one step to another step to the third step, and the feedback is given back to the list ultimately. Now, but the updation is in asynchronous operation. If you remember this diagram, this one, yeah. So there is a continuous feedback. There is a continuous feedback. 3 has been updated to 9. 2 has been updated to 4. Maybe time span has got completed. I have to increase the size of 3. Okay, then the redo work will happen. So I'll come to this redo part, what I have just said. But I guess this diagram makes sense. So, okay, moving ahead. So now there are two replicas are there. One is the current tree, another one is the work in progress tree. So there are two trees. Okay, why I'm even talking about the trees over here? So trees, because I believe in any of the React component, you cannot export two of the JSX elements simultaneously. One is the major reason behind that one is because of the tree structure. Okay, now there will be two trees. One will be the current tree, another one will be the work in progress tree. The current tree is responsible for what you are actually seeing on your DOM right now. Work in progress tree is something when your current tree is getting updated in. So it's like a copy which you are creating. Okay. And yeah, one thing, just to hold on. In React 16 or even before, I believe there was this concept which was introduced, which is named as error boundaries. Now the error boundaries into the picture only because of this work in progress tree. Because previously, how it was like, okay, something had happened in your something had happened. Let's suppose something went wrong, maybe at this item 2. So there should be some fallback where you can land upon. How would you get that? You will get that with the help of these two replicas of the trees. One is the current tree, another is the work in progress tree. Cool. Now, there is too many of the copies are there. There are too many of the asynchronous operations are there. So I would just take a step back and think about if you would have ever thought about how this microservices used to work. So when it comes to the microservices, there's also they because there are always too many services are running, and again we would have to maintain the consistency. Such a thing inside an operating system, such a thing was first introduced inside the operating system, and this terminology, which is named as cooperative scheduling. Name is little bit fancy, but yeah, I guess it is self-explanatory. Anyway, so there are two major concepts. So there are two major drawbacks which comes along with this asynchronous slash dividing of your work into multiple tasks. So one major problem is consistency, because now you have divided your task. How would you maintain the consistency? That's a problem. And the second problem is, okay, you have one thread, you have reduced that load of manipulating the entire of the DOM at once. Then probably, then while having this division, there will be certain starvation situation also, because your main thread will be probably a higher priority task is taking more time, then your lower priority task will be forever be starving. Who knows? So is there any solution to that one? So answer is yes, there is a solution to that one. Especially, I would first draw your attention towards this consistency thing. So React team, what they did, they went little bit more smart. So how did they this? How did they actually introduce this consistency thing? They have introduced the multiple workers at each of the elements. Now each of the this React or web workers, they will be responsible for a continuous feedback. Okay, something is going on, some updation has happened. I should be responsible for showing these changes on the DOM. Now that consistency problem is clear. Now, one thing which need to be noticed over here, that this starvation thing is coming into the picture only because of this priority thing. Still, that's an unsolved mystery, and I guess React team will be working upon it, and probably they would have solved it. But this prioritization thing has also introduced us to one more topic, which is really, really responsible for optimizing our React application. And you can make your wild guesses, but I would just let you know about something called as lazy loading. Think about it. Is it not lazy loading the clear outcome of this operation where the prioritization thing is coming up? So yes, React Fiber is again responsible for error boundaries. React Fiber is again responsible for an optimized rendering. React Fiber is again responsible for lazy loading. How amazing. One thing can solve many of the problems. But okay, let's just jump back to one of the clear war which is probably every development team has to suffer, which is whether you should be concerned about data structures or not. So I guess data structures and algorithms are getting used inside our development. It's just they are really into the deep, so we have to be concerned about them too. So again, drawing your attention towards how the previous algorithm was created. So previous algorithm was on recursion. When it comes to the recursion, auxiliary stacks will come into the picture. Auxiliary stacks are coming into the picture. So your operation of first in, last out operation is going on. That is again making us recall the school time concepts of stacks. And if you talk about how this React Fiber is getting formed, what exactly the data structure is getting used inside that one is. So there are two data structures which are getting used inside that one. I'm taking the example of that, the same example. So these components, these React components, that's the reason why I draw your attention towards these two elements. Sorry, these two terminologies. One is React element and another is React component. So React component are forming the tree-like structures, and React elements, which are nothing but the siblings, they will be forming the they will be forming the structure with the help of single linked list. They will be interrelated with the help of single linked list. So they are these two data structure, data tree data structure and single linked list. They are replacing the previous one, which is the stack implementation. And again, this article, this representation, and the knowledge whatever I have gathered, that won't be possible without these of the few of the developers who are doing an outstanding work, especially to the meta developers. If you are not following to the React meta developers repository, I would highly recommend, please do follow that one. That will just blow your knowledge about React to the next level. So yeah, that was all from my end.
Hi, Rajat.
Yep.
Hello. Yeah,
Yep.
am I audible?
Yeah, you are
Okay.
audible.
That was an amazing talk. A lot of information into it. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing that. So as you said, so I'll quickly jump into the questions. People, if you have any more questions, please share it in the comment section. Uh, so okay, so we will be dividing work into different chunks
Yep.
than being a synchronous task,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay, okay. And that's where the linked list concept comes in.
No, so I'll tell you.
Okay.
So how
Hmm.
this thing is working, that this asynchronity is responsible, is getting carried out with the help of React, with the help of fiber data structure. You can read about it. That is
Yeah.
actually
Sure, sure,
maintaining
sure. Hmm.
the asynchronous operations. Linked list
Okay.
is coming into the picture when
Hmm.
there are siblings of the React
Right, right.
elements.
Like in the virtual tree,
Yeah, correct, correct.
virtual DOM. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Even yeah,
Great.
you pointed very well. I think I forgot to take the credit of even the virtual DOM. All credit is also gone to React Fiber.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Anyway, that was a great talk. Although there was a break in between, I think we had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So, guys, again, if you have any questions, we will be open to that. The beauty is the ultimate goal was to share the knowledge,
Yeah.
and I think we did really great on that. Um, okay, I do not have much questions, so I think we will be moving on to the next. So basically, now animations would be faster
Yeah.
without drop-in frames.
Yeah. Absolutely correct. Animations
Okay.
are actually at the highest of the priority.
Yeah, that is at the highest priority. Even when we had React Native meetup, we were discussing how we are reducing the drop-in frames,
Yeah.
restructuring the algorithms for React Native or for React
Hmm.
in that case. And I think this React Fiber, I heard about it late in 2013. They were
Okay.
introducing React Fiber, and slowly we would be removing the DOM architecture
Okay. Okay.
virtual.
I'm not
I'm not sure
really.
about the
Uh,
developments, but yeah, guys, I have to read on it for sure. But if anyone has any questions, it would be great to reach out to Rajat. He has been exploring this for a while now.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Rajat. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to
Thank you.
GeekyAnts again.
Thank you so much.
And sure. And our next speaker will be Shreya. And can we have her on screen? Yeah. So she will be talking about React as a game changer. So as I said, React has been dominating how we create user experience, user interface for a long amount of time. And Shreya is from Sakha Tech, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So could you tell us more about you?
I'm Shreya Poudyal. I'm currently working as a software engineer at Sakhatic Information Systems.
Okay.
Basically, I'm working as a full stack developer there. I work in React and .NET,
Hmm. Right.
and I have I'm from Nepal actually, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
That is amazing. That is
yeah,
amazing.
so
Are you anywhere in Bangalore or anywhere in India in that case?
I'm not in India right now, but I'm coming back soon.
Oh, okay. That is amazing. Good to know. Good to know. See, Darshan, we have so many people when we are not on premise also. Thank you so much, Shreya, for joining. And I'll let the stage be yours for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's start. Um, and yeah, Sadanand, Darshan, and Rajat also have talked about some games that React is currently playing here. And yeah, now I'm going to talk about how React itself has come first as a game changer here. So let's start with the popularity of React. So, firstly, how popular is this React? About 40% of developers prefer React over other front end libraries and frameworks. So, here we can see all the other frameworks and libraries that could be used, but yeah, React.js is used by about 40% of the people. So, here we can see the popularity of it. Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Netflix, Pinterest, Instagram, Shopify, Amazon. Yeah, I'm sure all of you have heard about all of these. So these are all the ones that prefer React, and there are many more, sure. So why is React so popular? It's easy to grasp. As like, if you just know JavaScript, then React is like you can hold it pretty much well. And it's also a well supported library, that is like React has its own library plus npm and such packages are also available, so it's much easier to use. Like, yeah, we developers obviously prefer it. And it has reusable components. That's like one of the key feature of React. Like, we can just create a component and then we can go on using it how much ever we want. And another thing is virtual dom. Like, if you just have a real dom, it, how it happens in other front end libraries, and it goes on like changing whenever we have to modify something, the whole dom has to be re-rendered. But here, once we have a dom, then like the React will keep a copy of it, so that when we have to modify something, only that particular thing will be modified, and then the whole thing can be kept as the same. So it has a virtual dom that is going to work on this. And React is easy to scale. Like, it plays the role of view in the model view controller as we know it, so it's very much easy to scale it. And yeah, we obviously know that it has a strong community to support it. And these are the key features of React. That is, first is the JSX. As we all know, it has the HTML structures and it can be included in the JavaScript code. So yeah, that's again going to make us developers pretty much easier to use it. And it has unidirectional data flow. That means like, the data will have one single direction of data flow. So if you have some data to be called back, we need to use the callback functions. So it again makes the whole application much, um, what to say, it will be much scalable. And another thing is, as the virtual document object model, that's virtual dom, as we already talked about it. It's the certain model that will be modified, and yeah, whole thing will not be re-rendered again and again, so the time is always saved. And it has some extensions, like it supports server side rendering, that is Next.js and Redux, React Native, all those things are there. So yeah, this is what makes React the React. And yeah, debugging is also pretty much easier because we have the large community using it. So you just like post it on Stack Overflow and you just get it. And I hope you all agree on this. And yeah, it has component based architecture, that is it has structures, like all the components will have their own structures that is completely customizable. You can even use class based or functional based, but recently functional based is much easier. And APIs, we can call over the APIs as we want. It has its own methods, like all the methods that we want. And the states and props are definitely there. So this is how the component based architecture can work in our own customized way. And now, like, is React capable of building scalable applications? So yes, ease of adding new code, changing the old one, and fixing the bugs. All these things are much, much, much easier in React. So this is what makes it uh, the preference for building scalable applications, and on top of that, how easy it is to add new people to React project. That is, like, even if you don't know React, if you just know JavaScript and if you just know HTML, that is the basic thing we developers all mostly know. So in that case, you can easily come into React project and start understanding and working on it slowly. It won't take you much time to pick it up. And if React is suitable for big and complex applications, that's the most important question for if it is capable of building scalable applications. So yeah, due to the component based architecture that we discussed before, the components are reusable, so it can easily build big and complex applications because it won't have to use much of the memory or much of the time to render things, so it makes things much fluent. So this is why React is the key skill in the market right now. As you can see, all these companies occupying the market, and yeah, React is the thing that is in demand right now. And additionally, let me just give you a brief about a few tools that come handy if you use React. That is, first thing is Redux. As you all know, Redux is the global state management tool in the application, and like it has the store in which you can store the objects in in a like tree kind of structure, and then the reducers will be stored there, and you have the action that is going to change what will happen to your object, and then you have the reducers that are going to uh like that are going to specify how the state tree is transformed by the actions. Like first you have action and then reducer that is going to implement the action on that particular object, that is the state. And lastly we have Next.js. So Next.js is popular for mostly these six things. That obviously there are much more, but these six things are mostly the key things that make us prefer it. And yeah, first thing about it is hot code reloading. So whenever we have any changes and we want to save it, the moment we save it, it reloads it, so it automatically reloads. That's how Next.js works. And automatic routing is like any URL is mapped to the file system. Like when you have some files inside a folder, say page, then inside that the links are automatically mapped automatically, so the things will get routed. You don't need to route everything going on one by one. And another thing is server side rendering. Obviously Next.js is the thing that does server side rendering. So what how it helps us is like before sending the HTML to the client, it does server side rendering. So that's how it's going to work, even as a like it can play a role of backend as well. So with Next.js you can build a full stack application, as like React is just a front end library, but yeah, Next.js is going to be the support that will help you build the full stack application. And another thing is single file components. Like if you just have a file like style JSX, something like that, then you can just have it customized and you can include all the styles that you want to implement for some particular components or even your whole application. In that case, that one file can work for the number of components you want. So this single file can work like a magic. And another thing is ecosystem compatibility. So yeah, the JavaScript and Node.js, these things are also supported by Next.js. And the last thing is automatic splitting. Like if you have some code, the code will get automatically splitted by Next.js, and it will load only that particular part of the code for that timing which is required for that particular timing. So this is how it will make things much faster. It won't take much time loading all the thing that you feed, and like the whole code is getting processed and all those things getting compiled and all. No, it won't take whole time for doing all those things. It won't waste our time for that. It will just load that particular part that is required at a time, so it's going to work very fast. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you. Hello, I'm not able to hear
Ah, okay,
Saurav.
right, right. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah. Uh, So I'm saying, yeah, that was a great talk. Thank you so much for sharing that. I actually came in from a backend technologies, Java, Python, and all of that. And when I came into React, I actually could relate to that, all of the wow moments and how moments in React and JavaScript, everything that seems interesting and new, including Next and the React DOMs, and like as you said, using components, reusing components, and making it great for the developers as well as for the users as well. Thank you, Shreya, so much for joining. I had a lot of questions honestly for Rajat and Shreya, but we are already up on time. We I guess we are it's 5:25 and it would take us 5:30 to close. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining from Nepal and being in the community. I would
Thank
also,
you.
yeah, thank you. I would also request everyone to be back on stage so we can have a little discussion. We'll take a photo of all the speakers. So, hi,
Hi everyone.
Sadanand, hi, Darshan, hi,
Hi.
Rajat.
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
bro.
hope you had a great time too. Did we?
Yep,
Yeah, we
absolutely.
did. Actually,
Awesome talk, Rajat, Shreya, and Sadanand. It was really, I learned a lot today. It was worth to attend a meetup. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Same here. Actually, like got to learn a lot today.
Yeah.
And
thank you,
before closing
every.
up, yeah, Darshan, I guess you are not the only one who is MCU crazy fan. I'm also upset why
That's,
Iron Man is dead.
that's okay.
Okay, okay. That
I'm
that
glad
was a
that's,
spoiler, guys.
yeah, this is a serious topic, by the way. It's not
Yeah.
a.
Yeah, Darshan could fight on it. But yeah, let's end it on a happy note, guys.
Yeah.
Uh, hope everyone in the comment section, everyone watching us, had a great time. Thank you so much for joining, even,
Thank you.
and I hope we also learned. Rajat, thank you so much for explaining everything about React Fiber and about the new React architectures. And
Yeah.
Shreya, thank you, sir, for even being in new in the community, still trying to contribute into it. That's a great spirit. Thank you so much for joining. Sadanand, thank you so much. Uh, I think Sadanand is he online? I'm not sure. I see.
He is, I guess. I can see
Oh,
him.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sadanand, for joining us. Thank you for explaining us about Zustand. I'll and also showing us how Zustand works. We will try to implement it in the way that makes it easier to implement than to go to the documentation and look for how things work. And I think ChatGPT would help us more to
Yeah,
look
it
into
will.
how things
It
work.
will.
Yeah,
As
and
I think all the students that are watching this stream, I
hmm,
know there are so many rumors, and we are. I think most of us are concerned that whether what's going to happen next. But I think we are not. Front-end engineers are not going anywhere. There are so
sure,
many
sure,
things
sure.
that needs to be built, and new things will introduce us. There are so many amazing folks like Dan Abram. He's the guy. He's like constantly giving replies to the tweets related to a React. So yeah, stay in community. Don't be in FOMO, and whatever source that you are using right now, just verify it like whether it's like a valid or not, is a legitimate or not. Just do not do not fall for this kind of the trap. Yeah, AI will gonna
Sure.
help us. It's not gonna take our jobs.
Sure, Chan.
Hopefully.
Darshan, thank you so much
Yeah.
for saying that. Assurity, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, guys.
Rajat, you seem quite. Would you like to add something
Uh,
about your
mm,
talk, about the event, about how you felt about it?
yeah, I'm amazingly, I'm really thankful to everyone, even though my network was lost in between. Still everyone supported me, and yeah, probably
Sure, sure.
that's what shows, okay, that community is here to support you. And kneeling
Surely we are.
towards React with a huge community when it comes to development. Again, I would one thing I would really request everyone to do is do check out the Meta developers React repository. It is just filled with immense amount of knowledge if you will just go over there.
Hmm. If we could have a common place to share, I would have shared the GitHub account, which writes and does everything about React Fiber, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's also
sure.
interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll drop the comment.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah. Sadanand, Shreya, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, firstly, I would like to thank GeekyAnts for this amazing opportunity.
Sure. Sure. Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
And thanks for joining. Thanks for Sadanand. Anything?
Yeah, it was a great experience, Saurav. Enjoyed, and I was very much excited also. So it went
Hmm.
very well. Hope people enjoyed this.
We did. Everyone did, and the comment section was also active. That is great to see. And also, I had to say something, yeah, about the community. We have a React Wizard community where we bring in people, and also you can also stay connected with us if you have a topic, if you find something new, if you find something interesting that you would love to share with the community. We come up with these events, and you could be a speaker too. So do stay connected, and thank you so much. We will be ending this event. Okay, Darshan, you.